on Lexi while we get that up and going. Lexi is the Merino Link site manager. Lexi came on board in 2019, but has been involved in the site since its inception. Lexi manages the MLPUs and their assessments at the Temora site. Lexi is also a wool specialist with Moses and Sons, with clients spread across New South Wales. Welcome, Lexi. Thanks for joining us. I'll now give you the reins.
Thanks very much, Fee. G'day, everybody. Thank you for being online today. Thank you to Rich for that great introduction. As we just said, I'm the site manager here for the Merino Link site at Temora. I'm originally from a family sheep and beef farm in the Southern Riverina, and I've been with Moses and Sons now for just over 5 years after finishing my postgraduate degree in ag consulting from UNE. I have an undergraduate from CSU as well. So it's really great to be a part of the project, and I'm going to give you a bit of a site overview today of the Merino Link site. So I'm going to start with the property. So we've got about 990 acres here at Reefton, so just tucked in behind the Reefton Forest, which is about halfway between Temora and Barmedman in the Southern Riverina. It's only MLPs run on our site there, so the 700 ewes that consist of the 2 drops of MLP are all that we have there at the Merino Link site. The sheep are owned, as Rich said, by Moses and Sons and Blue Chip Livestock. And it's a really great part of the world to be in. So we've got mostly lucerne and mixed clover and ryegrass pastures with a little bit of winter grazing crop opportunity as well. So you can just see there from my map, which I pulled out of AgriWeb, the teal blue paddocks. They are my mixed clover and ryegrass paddocks. The purple and red paddocks there displayed are the paddocks which are monoculture lucerne. And the yellow paddocks there are what we sowed this year down to barley, grazing barley. So that's sort of a bit of a indication of what the site would look like. We're 550 mil rainfall average, and we're about 270 metres above sea level there. So quite typical of the area, and which I think is really good for the site to with the data that we're going to be collecting, will be very representative of, you know, the type of sheep that are run in that area in New South Wales. So the climate conditions that we normally see here at the Temora site at Merino Link, I've got a graph here which you can see, guys, and there's a few colours there, so just bear with me. The grey bars here are the historical rainfall averages, and oh, sorry, one too far. The green bars are the rainfall averages for the site since the start of the project in 2016 through to this year. And it was quite interesting, as much of Southern Riverina has been, we have been in the same drought for the last 3 years. And I wanted to pull this data together thinking that it would show that we've had below average rainfall. Funnily enough, there are a couple of months here, so September being one of them here highlighted with the blue circle, where we have the site for the term of the project has actually had well above our historical average for rainfall, as well as May, June and December as well. Interestingly though, April, which is the typical turn of the season, that's when we get our autumn break, it's when a lot of sowing happens in the area. For the length of the project, we have had well below the average for our rainfall. Now, seeing as this didn't show what I thought it was going to show, I pulled that data apart a little bit more, and I got to this graph here. So what you can see here, guys, is the historical average rainfall is that green dotted line that sort of bounces around that 49, 50 millimetres of rainfall per month. And then each of the other colours represents a different year. So this light blue line, which peaks up really high over September, that's the 2016 annual rainfall, average rainfall per month. And what you can see is it was quite low at the beginning of the season, and then in April shot up for the rest of the year. Interestingly enough, the 2016 drop were AI'd in January and born in June, July. And I think they were born in about 3 inches of water. So they were probably more aquatic than anything else for the first few months of their life. And then of course we run into 2017, which is this orange line. The yellow line and the grey line are 2018 and 19 respectively, and you can see quite simply there that it's been pretty awful conditions those 3 years. And then of course 2020 we bumped right back up, so we had an amazing start to the season with well above average rainfall for our break. We've had above average rainfall right through the winter, and I don't have the end of the year data here, but it's been quite a great finish. So I suppose interestingly enough, what we can draw from that information is that the ewes at the Marina Link site really have had the short and the long of it at the site. They've been through drought, they've been through floods, they've had lush green pasture, which I think will give some really interesting information back to us at the end of the project, showing how the different types of sheep, you know, handled different environmental conditions and how they produced through that. So I suppose we better talk about the ewes then. The ewe base that was used to generate the 2016 and the 2017 drop were sourced from 5 different flocks, and each of the size that we used over the 2 years had even allocation of the 5 different ewe types that we sourced to create them. So we started off with the blue chip livestock ewes, which were SAR evaluation daughters. We had some stud and commercial Pudginook ewes that came into it, some stud Bundilla ewes and some stud Centre Plus ewes. And these ewes are really typical of what you would see in the Southern Riverina. They're quite well-known studs and they're quite well used in the area. So very typical of the sheep that we see running in the Southern Riverina. So here's our sire list that we used in 2016 and 2017. I won't go all the way through this, guys, except only to point out my link size. So for the across year link sire, we had the Trigger Vale pole ram there, which is highlighted in blue. And the rams that are highlighted here in bold that are idolised, they're our across site link size. And so anybody that's new to MLP, what this really means is, because we use that ram across both years, we can actually accurately compare the data from the 2016 and the 2017 drops directly, and the same with the across site size. So where the sires have been used across multiple sites, we're able to take the information from our drop of ewes here and accurately compare them to the ewes at the other sites. And that's why we have those link size there, to make sure that we can really compare the data that we're collecting across the whole of the data that's being collected in the project. What did we say, Rich? 1 million results that have been collected, we can compare them all. So the management calendar at the Marina Link site is very reflective of other calendars and typical farming calendars in the area. So we'll start with joining in December. So the ewes at Marina Link get joined at the end of December over the Christmas break. They are naturally joined for 5 weeks. So that puts preg scanning in about early March. Lambing then starts in May. We wean in August, which gives us the opportunity to turn those weather lambs off nice and early before it gets hot, dry and dusty. And those ewes can go out, those young ewes can go out on a nice loose and to grow out. We also have weaning in September, not weaning, we have classing in the end of September, and shearing happens at the end of October, and we somehow try and fit a field day there in the middle. So anybody that came to the inspection day would have seen the ewes in full wool the day before they were shorn this year. Interestingly enough, the original shearing whilst we were in the sire evaluation stage was in March, and we actually moved that last year. So I'm going to show you a graph in a moment that's got a few data points in it, and you'll see that there are 2 lots of data in 1 year because of this change of shearing. So like Rich said, we're well into the project now, and we've got a few age stages here. So early refers to anything that we collected at marking, weaning for W, yearling stage, and then adults 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 for the 2016 drop. You'll see there the 2 age stages, A3. That's because we had that change of shearing, so we got to collect the data twice. And you can just see from this table that there is a lot of data that we collect. So of our wool traits, it's everything from fleece weight through to curvature. We get 4 strategic body weights and condition scores collected throughout the year. We do all of the visual traits that you'll see in the visual score guide, which is released by WI. We have 2 different classes. We have an independent professional classer and our independent AMSI classer that comes on site. And of course, we collect all of that joining data. So DNA testing, we collect gender at birth or at marking, apologise. We also do all of the SAR and DAM. Everything's collected on these views. So there's a lot of ticks there because we collect a lot of data. So we've got 2 more joinings left for the 2016 drop use, and they'll wrap up in 2022, as well as the same as the 2017 drop use. So again, that A2 stage was when we changed that shearing for these ewes. So we've got 2 lots of data there. The exact same type of data is collected, all the same data points. And you'll notice that that 2017 drop ewes only go through to A5. And that's because the project will finish in 2022, and these girls will obviously be 1 year younger than their 2016 drop. So guys, that's about all I've got for the site overview. Here's just a few happy snaps of the ewes, just representing sort of the seasonal conditions that we've had throughout the year. I think a couple of these photos have been used on social media, so you might have seen them around a bit. And I just wanted to really finish by saying a massive thank you to everybody that's involved in this project, including the funders, AWI, AMSI, the 5 sites, my site committee in particular, who are of a huge help to me, and everybody else from the Moses team that's been involved. So I'll hand back to you now, Fee. Thank you very much.